All right, up next we have my beautiful Taurus rising and Taurus sun, of course. So this is your 2022 forecast. I am doing an astrology and tarot reading, and I got my astrology notes right here. And the tarot is I'm just going to pull the tarot for essentially each section. So before I get started, I did want to announce that I do have 2022 personal readings. So if that's something that you're interested in, I have reports that are cheaper, and then I have like full-on readings about how this will play out for your personal chart. This is, of course, a general reading. So let's go ahead and get started. So you guys are going to have the North Node moving into your first house, your sign, and in Taurus in January 18th of 2022. So I'm just gonna pull some cards around that to see what that could look like for you. So having the North Node in your sign, that is actually something that I experienced this past year, and I don't know what was that like for me. I mean, I bought a house, I settled down, I started doing things in a different way. I've definitely cut out some, friends or some habits. And I think I stepped into my power in some ways, but I will say that there's still a lot left for me to learn. But essentially what happens with having the nodes move into your sign is it's going to create eclipses that occur on your sign. So it's going to be eclipses along the first and seventh house axis, which means that you have the potential for the greatest amount of change if you are Taurus rising in your life and in this next year. Some change that you might be unexpected, some change that is kind of coming out of nowhere or is so drastic and so big that you guys are gonna be, I just think it's our time we have a lot of energy kind of coming in where you can finally make some really big changes in your life. And with this Five of Cups and Ten of Swords, I feel like it's changing for you guys to look at life more positively. I think this is telling me that there's an ending of maybe negative thought patterns. You guys have had Saturn moving in the 10th house, which can create this feeling of stagnancy or being a little bit frustrated at how things are not progressing as quickly, specifically in your career sector as you would like. And so I feel like a lot of this is maybe you guys were getting a little bit down with that and kind of feeling like, well, I was putting so much effort into my career and things are improving, things are moving along, but they're not really where I'd want them to be. And kind of focusing too much on that with this Five of Cups. With the Ten of Swords next to it, it feels like this really finite ending where you're beginning to see life much differently. You're beginning to see how powerful of a manifester you are. And then from this place, it's going to move things really quickly. So that stagnant energy within your career is going to flow really quick with this Eight of Wands here after eclipse season starts. You're going to have a lot more insight into the next steps. You're going to have a lot more opportunities actually come in. So it's not just the clarity, it's actually taking the action. And so I feel like you guys are going to really see things progress. And I think it's going to challenge you on a personal level with this Hierophant to step up into your next level of yourself. But as I always say, the next level has its next level devil, which means that you guys are going to be challenged emotionally, physically, mentally, in order to expand and in order to grow like that or to keep up with this new change and this new pace in your life with these eclipses and this Eight of Wands. You guys are going to have to go within and have a really strong understanding of yourself as well as a strong spiritual practice or grounding practice. And so I think that is going to give you an immense amount of understanding yourself. You guys are going to shake off a lot of this old, dead, stagnant energy, a lot of the fear and the negativity of thoughts that maybe have been keeping you, again, stagnating. And it's going to create an irrevocable ending that then speeds things up by cutting off the past. So this is the past, this is the future. So you move quickly, you go quickly within and without. So it's like a really deep understanding of the self, but also a deep understanding of life and what you want and where you're going and how to take action on that. And I feel like you guys are taking action quickly. So what does the South Node in Scorpio look like? The South Node in Scorpio in your 10th house. That might create some endings in relationships that are a little bit sad or frustrating, and that could also be another interpretation of these cards, is that some of these endings could make you sad, honestly. Like you could feel their loss, you could feel upset from them, but it's an ending that creates, again, this lightness in your life where you're able to go further within. You're able to understand what you need more. You're able to understand how you should approach relationships more. So it's an ending with people in your life that are very necessary, that are long overdue in some ways, and that give you more stability. With this Four of Pentacles, you don't want to hold on to people out of fear. You don't want to hold on to people because they make you feel safe or comfortable. You want them in your life because they help you grow, because they give you happiness, they give you fulfillment, and they're not just the safety net that's actually holding you down. So this Four of Pentacles is coming in here to say that you guys are going to achieve much more stability within your life without these people, because you're going within to create that stability. And so you're not holding on out of lack, out of fear. You're completely removing those dynamics, and you're feeling how light you are after that. Is there anything else that wants to come through with having the South Node in the 7th house in Scorpio? The Nine of Wands. Aw. So I feel like this card is coming in here of a little bit of advice, because sometimes having the South Node in the 7th house can be very emotionally challenging. It can feel like you guys are being pushed to your limits, to creating some sense of resilience in your dynamics with your relationships and with other people. You might encounter kind of karmic partners or karmic scenarios with people playing out where you are finally playing out that karma to release it fully. And so the Nine of Wands is saying it could feel sometimes exhausting to have to go through those experiences, but that you are going to birth so much through that, with all these beautiful flowers coming up over here. This person has cultivated an incredible garden, and it's because of those difficult times, those difficult moments in her life. And so I think you guys, the current relationships you have are not going to be the same ones that you have at the end of the year. I mean, maybe it will be, but some of them might be gone from that. So you might have less people, or you might cultivate new relationships. Who knows? Who knows? But you'll definitely be cutting away some old patterns or old people. But it's going to leave room, a lot more room in the garden. And so I was actually just talking to my friend today about my trees out back. And he said that I have to cut down some trees. And I was like, but they're so beautiful. I don't want to cut any of them down. They've worked so hard to grow, and I've put so much, nature has put so much into them. Just kind of like you have put so much into certain relationships, you don't want to just leave them behind. And he said, well, as these trees continue to grow, they're going to kill each other. So if you don't cut some of them out now, because they're so close together, they will starve each other in their resources. And that's what I'm seeing in your relationships. Because there are certain people in your life that are getting in the way for you, it's important to cut them out before it becomes too late and they actually do something detrimental or take way too much away from you, so that they truly are inhibiting your growth. Because at first it's not like that. Well, all the trees are small, it all works out great. At first you're cultivating those relationships, you're putting the effort, everything's so fun and easy, and then you reach a turning point in life in which that relationship is no longer serving you, and it's crowding out the resources, it's blocking your growth, and it's time for you to cut them away. And then once you do that, so much more tree growth can happen. So much more internal personal growth can happen, and these sunflowers can finally emerge. So I think that's something important to remember, that it's not going to be the easiest year. You guys are going to have a lot of growth, but a lot of leaving behind of dynamics and people. And it's telling you to release that without fear. So let's also have a look at your Jupiter. So Jupiter, one of the biggest things happening is that Jupiter is finally moving into Pisces, a sign that it loves to be in. So it is thriving here, and it's going to be in Pisces in your 11th house of friendships. It's moving there on December 29th. And then it's also going to dip into Aries in May. So just for a little bit though. So interesting. This is the same cards I got in the last group. I'm going to use like a quarter of the deck in the last group, so I guess that makes sense. So what is this Jupiter in Pisces? Okay. You guys might experience some kind of like nostalgic type of energy. I mean, Jupiter being in the 11th house is going to give you guys this loving energy in your friendships. Like, I want to give to everyone, and they give to me. It's like so beautiful. It's really benefiting your relationships, even though the South Node, the seventh house, which is karmically kind of ending things or transitioning out certain elements of close relationships, especially romantic partnerships. Having Jupiter in the 11th is, trining the 7th house, is giving you guys a lot more support through growing new community, growing new friendships. With the 6 of Cups, it might feel like your soul community is coming through, or like you might even meet a soulmate if you're not already with someone. I'm getting more of a friendship thing because it is the 11th house, so it feels like this soul tribe coming in for you. And it's this equal kind of giving and receiving, and bringing back almost like this nostalgic kind of childhood memories where you feel like your inner child is connecting with them. So it's like more of a remembrance rather than this whole new relationship being built from scratch. And so those relationships can develop really quickly. So you might be leaving some behind, but new relationships are coming in to flourish that have been from past soul lives, and you're here to help each other grow. And with the 6 of Wands and the Devil, I feel like they are going to help you grow out of maybe some old habits that your other friends helped you stay in. The Devil card is all about restriction, and this is about us restricting ourselves. And so wherever relationships or friendships were enabling you or were helping you restrict or play small, then all of those things are finally being left behind with Jupiter. That is all being illuminated. So I would just, keep in mind that the company that you keep is really going to be a in direct connection with some of your habits and certain traits and qualities. So you want to, again, move towards the 6 of Cups people who are going to help bring into your life these really positive manifestations of your own inner power, because they knew you in past lives and they knew how powerful you were. And so they're just trying to help you get back to that point or even further. And the Devil card is here to say that they're going to help you move past those limitations that we've developed in this lifetime that have prevented us or kept us stuck from reaching our past potential that we've already had. The 6 of Wands to me is telling me you absolutely are reaching that potential, and it's specifically stating to me that you guys have a lot of potential to make relationships this year that are moving you forward in life. That's all what the 11th house is. It's about this kind of relationship dynamic where you can meet somebody that connects you to 5 other people that then can get you a job that you've been always wanting, or get you that house, or get you a discount, or get you money, like whatever it is that you're needing or looking for in life, you can get them through networking and connections. And the 6 of Wands is saying that with Jupiter and Pisces in the 11th house, you have that gift. Those connections are coming through. You are benefiting from opportunities of those around you. So make sure that you are social this year and aren't afraid to leave behind certain relationship dynamics, because the people in your life this year are really going to make or break things for you and have the potential to really uplift you. But Jupiter is a planet that we have to take action on. We can't just rest on our laurels and expect the opportunities to come to us and then also just play out. Like they'll come to us and then we have to act. We have to say yes. We have to receive. And if you block that will again not be available to you. But Jupiter is trying to make that happen for you. So just open your arms, go to parties, say yes to social avenues or social events, and meet with the right people that feel like this instant kind of past life connection, because those are available to you. You guys are also going to have Saturn being alone in your 10th house. So that is going to kind of take away the niceness that Jupiter was helping Saturn with in your career. But I feel like it's not bad because I just pulled these amazing cards. I feel like you guys are going to have something worth celebrating. I think you are going to have the potential to still manifest a lot in your career. Yes, will it come with hard work? Of course it is, below these cards here, which is saying that you are working a lot. Maybe you're budgeting, you're working a lot on yourself and your priorities. But with the 4 of Wands, the King of Wands, the Magician, you guys are absolutely seeing some results manifest in your career. So I think that it's your time with the North Node in your 1st house to see some financial opportunities come to you, to have certain celebrations, to feel like this passion ignited within your career. And yes, Saturn is there, which means you will still have to put that effort again. But to me, it's saying it's going to pay off and that all that effort is going to come full circle for you. So That's really beautiful. I might come back to that in a second. But Saturn is going to be in the 10th house for you until um, March of 2023. I believe that's when it moves out. So it is kind of there for a hot sec, which means that you could still encounter difficulties in your career or slowness within your career. But what this is saying to me is that there will also be moments of manifestation. There will also be moments of celebration, of breaking through. And so it's not just like this steady uphill climb where people are constantly pushing you back. You are making progress. You are going to the checkpoints, like looking out at the view, and then you're continuing up your journey. So you're going to have both of those this year. You guys are going to also have the sun moving through your first house in April and May of this next year, and Venus is going to be in your first house in June. So April, May, and June are times in which manifestation is more potent for you, big changes is more potent for you, recognition, having more potential come through in your career, in your finances, and your relationship dynamics. April, May, and June are your months for those things. All right, so now let's go ahead and look at some interesting transits or aspects that we're going to be experiencing. So we're going to be starting off the year with Venus retrograde in Capricorn with Pluto. And it's going to be in Capricorn until March, I believe. And so you guys are going to be kind of reassessing certain beliefs or value systems that you have during that time. Maybe a vision that you have. I pulled the Tower card along with the King of Pentacles. So it could specifically be some type of vision that you have around your financial stability, because the Pentacles is often about that. I know that we are going to have a unique event occur in February with the U.S. Pluto return, where banking systems is already going to be kind of looked at. And you guys have Uranus moving through your sign, which is related to finances anyway. So you guys might be really reevaluating your priorities with your finances, or even with your relationships. But Venus is your ruling planet and it's hanging out with Pluto, so it's kind of taking you a little bit to the underworld to reassess things in a big way. And that's why I have the Tower card, because it is this kind of massive transformation that's happening that might make you feel like you are unsettled a little bit in the first few months of the year, at least until March, or especially until the end of January. Things will alleviate a little bit, but you won't really truly be in the clearing until March, when Venus finally starts to move into Aquarius. And so this Tower card to me is telling me that you guys are having a really big reset in your life, and it might again feel destabilizing. It might feel scary. You might feel like you are falling from a great height. But next to the King of Pentacles, you are reevaluating Capricorn energy. You're reevaluating the foundations of your life, the foundations of your personality, of your career, of your finances, of your relationships, any kind of core foundational aspect, especially being in Capricorn, which is asking us, what do we truly need? What resources are important for us? And what is superfluous? What am I spending money on that I don't really need to be spending money on? Or what relationships that I have are not helping me, that I really don't need to be in anymore, that are taking my time and energy away from my goals in my life? What habits, all those areas where you're asking yourself, what do I really need and what is extra, what is unnecessary? And it's breaking it down back to the foundation of things with this King of Pentacles, creating something that's stronger for you than ever. And next to the Empress, I think what it's doing is, especially in March, is rebirthing you into this really abundant state where I feel like you guys are going to see abundance in everything around you. And that's because you know how to manage what is existing in your life according to your new value system. So getting rid of the excess, diving down and going further into the things that are working or are supporting you truly is going to create that feeling of abundance, where you feel like you can manifest things and you have everything that you need to support you, but not too much excess, where it feels like, when sometimes you have like too much stuff, and it's great to have stuff. It's great to have the things that you need. But when you have too much, it becomes something else that you have to manage, right? It's like something else I have to take care of, something else I have to think about. And it's an energy expenditure. And I feel like when you come to this Empress, you start to see how you can regenerate your energy in a really sustainable way, where you don't, again, are not taking out too much, taking out too little. It's like getting the balance right, because the Empress is all about nature, right? She is fully abundant because she knows that she can get all her needs met So nature regenerates. Nature gets rid of things and takes that energy and puts it into newly growing plants. All those things are it's just constantly the recycling of energy, and it's the perfect balance. And so I think with this Empress card, you guys are finally getting that balance down in your life with any area that felt out of balance. It doesn't just have to be finances, although for a lot of you it will be. It will be also relationships as well. So all of those things are really going to come under scrutiny so that you can align better with your values and cut out what is not necessary for you. Okay. On March 2nd, we are also going to have Venus, your ruling planet, conjunct Mars and Pluto in your ninth house. What is that about for you guys? Mars and Pluto conjunction, that's already pretty intense alone. And then with Venus in the mix, it might be an interesting time for relationships, even though it's in your ninth house, which is, again, but about your beliefs and your vision for the future and all that stuff. Of course, it could be about traveling, it could be about paperwork, so many things. But because Venus is involved, I feel like there is some reevaluation of relationships or money that's happening at that time. Specifically, let me just see. Let's see what cards come out. This one wanted to come out. The Justice card. The Moon. Let's pull one more. If anything wants to come out. So the Justice and the Moon, that's very interesting to me. This is a balancing of the emotions, but in order to create that balance, there's going to be an imbalance. I mean, that's essentially, oh, and the Ace of Cups. Yeah, this is definitely about relationship dynamics with the Ace of Cups. There might be some existing relationships in which you are going to maybe be a little bit triggered around that time with this Moon and the Ace of Cups. Certain emotions that could be overflowing within you that you're not so sure about. Some of them could come from a shadow place. Some of them could feel really fulfilling and really beautiful. And it's this interesting mix of the two. And so I feel like you guys are going to have a really passionate day on March 2nd when all these planets, Venus, Mars, and Pluto, conjunct in your ninth house. I think you can be seeing relationships in a completely new way, or it can bring up some shadow aspects of the relationships that need to be relieved. And it's going to be relieved through a sense of fairness and justice with this Libra energy. It is, again, Libra energy with the Justice card focusing on relationships, on others, on your dynamic and cooperation. So there might be certain aspects of relationships that have felt uneven, where maybe you were giving a lot to a partner and they weren't giving that back. Maybe you have certain friendships where there were dynamics that were uneven. And a lot of those wounds can come up from that. Like, well, this is where I've been giving emotionally and this other person hasn't. And this is triggering this childhood wounding in me. And this is bringing up these dark aspects of myself, or my need to get controlling or jealous because of my fear of not being wanted, of not being loved. And so it's when the shadow aspects come out with Pluto and Mars involved that we are looking to resolve them or to purge them. And that's going to come from that Venus energy, from this Justice card, where we're like, this is what I need. This is speaking our truth, speaking our feelings in a very intentional way, because I think that this could be quite intense, and it could, kind of rip the feelings right out of your throat and deliver them to the person in an extreme way. And I think with Venus involved is asking us to do it intentionally, with care, with what we're trying to create in the future. And so you guys might be experiencing lots of triggers around that time of certain relationship imbalances, and it's our time to make them fair. Let's also look at April 4th, when we have Venus conjunct Saturn and Mars in your 10th house of career in Aquarius. We have the Nine of Swords and the Two of Swords. Two of Wands. You guys are definitely getting anxious at this time about the future of your career. Maybe something happens or is coming up, or you need to make some kind of decision. And with these cards here, it's like you are looking into the future and it's causing anxiety. And I think it's likely coming from a place of uncertainty. Mars and Saturn also already are very anxiety-producing planets. So it's already a time in which those things are kind of coming full force. But then we have Venus in the mix, and it's your ruling planet. So it's having you question aspects of your life, having you have more self-doubt, maybe around finances, maybe around the future, especially this Two of Wands. Again, I see the future. It's like some kind of plan that is feeling really anxious for you that you're not certain about. The Two of Swords, again, adding to that uncertainty. It's like, I don't know what to do next. I have these different ideas, I have these different paths, but I really don't know. And it's giving me so much anxiety. Like, I'm just creating the worst possible scenarios in my head, and I just really don't know how to make a decision off of this. So April 4th might be this really intense state where you're faced with some kind of pivotal moment in which, in your career specifically, in which you have to make a decision about, am I going left or am I going down right? Because whatever path I choose, I'm committing to that hike, and I'm committing to going down that path, and it's going to affect the trajectory of my life. And I think that you guys, of course, are going to choose successfully, because whatever you choose is the successful or the right choice for you. But with these cards here, it is indicating that that choice is going to create a dilemma for you or a difficulty. And with this King of Cups, it's telling you to follow your heart, really tune into your intuition, to how things feel in the body, to how you feel about things emotionally, instead of just going with your intellect. Because if you go too much with your intellect with the Nine of Swords, you're going to overly worry about it. You're going to not be certain about what the right thing to do is. And this card with the King of Cups is saying that you absolutely know what to do, but don't let the intellect or your mind kind of get in the way of whatever that is. Then on April 13th, you guys are going to have Jupiter conjunct Neptune in your 11th house of friendships. This is one of the most beautiful times in terms of relationships. You guys might be feeling so joyous, so compassionate, so connected to your loved ones and the people around you. And it's a time to embrace that, to fully absorb that. Let's see what else is coming through about that day. The Fool card. So it's a time to jump headfirst into whatever dynamic you're looking at in these relationships, to feel like you're fully trusting them, you're fully opening up to them. You're not holding on to the past. You're not worrying about the future. You are the Fool, totally present in the moment, totally unbridled or unburdened. And you are opening up your heart and your soul to this deeper love and connection. And so it's a time to feel really joyous, to feel like you're celebrating, to feel like you're enjoying the people around you, and not burdened by anything challenging from the past, because the Fool knows what it wants and is going towards it, but it's not worried about anything other than this moment now. And so that's what you guys are meant to do, to fully embrace and enjoy everything happening on April 13th in your relationships. And then on the April 30th, we have Venus conjunct Jupiter in Pisces in the 11th house. And I pulled the Queen of Pentacles for that day. So this seems like a time in which you guys are stepping up into boss-ass bitch mode. The Queen of Pentacles to me is somebody who is reaching a level of financial ability or success. And it is also somebody who... Yeah, the Queen of Pentacles is someone financially independent, somebody who takes care of themselves, somebody who feels like, I'm on fire, I got all my needs met, I just feel like I have a good routine, I know what I want out of my life. It's just this feeling of strength within oneself. And it's coming because you have a strong foundation. Financially, externally, internally, all those things are set for you guys to be strong, to feel strong. And so this card to me is saying that you guys are going to have a lot of potential at this time when Venus is conjunct Jupiter on April 30th to reap rewards in your friendships, to reap rewards financially, and to just feel like everything is kind of stabilizing in your life in a really positive way. And then on July 1st, you're going to have Mars in Aries in the 12th house, square Pluto in the 9th house. July 1st, I do think that this is connected somehow to Mars and Venus and Pluto conjunct in March. And so you might find that something going on in March, the beginning of March, is connected to what's going on at the beginning of January. So the Venus, Mars, and Pluto thing happening in March was where you guys, I think, were going to have this kind of moment here where you are really reevaluating things in terms of the foundations of your life. And then when Mars is squaring Pluto on July 1st, I think that could be a time in which you guys are maybe at this, again, kind of crossroads a little bit with this Hangman in reverse and the World card. The Hangman in reverse is like, I guess like the Hangman in general is not moving, right? He's literally bound to a tree. Sorry, that cut off, and I'm not even sure what it cut off last saying, but I'll just kind of continue with what I was saying before. So you have the Hangman reverse, the World, and the Eight of Swords, and this is talking about Mars squaring Pluto. Mars in your 12th house squaring Pluto in your 9th house on July 1st. So I feel like you guys have been wanting to end some cycle when it gets to this point, but it's like not really working. With Mars making a square to Pluto, there's a lot of drive, there's a lot of ambition, but there's also, with this being in reverse, this feeling that things aren't necessarily progressing, especially because Mars is at the 12th house in this time on July 1st. Mars in the 12th is a time where our energy is becoming more introverted. We don't necessarily have all of our normal tools and things that we need to do to succeed. We don't have our normal energy state or passion or drive within us. It's like, again, it's turned inward. And so this is a time in which old cycles are meant to end, but with it being a square, you guys might still hang on to certain beliefs that are perpetuating something that did come up in March around readjusting your foundations. There might still be some beliefs laying around that are impeding that from actually turning over or actually finally ending. Like you guys might be changing certain aspects of your foundations at the beginning of March, and then by the time we get to July, you realize like where you've been truly holding yourself back with this Eight of Swords, where you maybe have thought like, well, that's okay and I can put up with that, or that's okay in my life, or this habit's okay, or whatever it is about your foundation, especially your finances and relationships, but anything really. There might be certain beliefs, again, that you have let slide that have kept you tied down and have kept you repeating the same cycle or the same pattern. And so I think that's going to become uncomfortable on July 1st. It's going to become clear. You're going to have anxiety about it, and you're going to realize that you finally need to shift some things to make those, to complete that cycle that is trying to end, that has been trying to end even now with Venus and Pluto hanging out and going retrograde. Like, the cycle has already started, and I think it's going to come full circle in July, where you're going to realize like the last little bits of things that were not adjusted that needed to be adjusted all along. Then on August 1st, we're going to have Mars conjunct Uranus in Taurus in your sign, in your first house. And it's going to square Saturn in your 10th and sextile Venus and Cancer in your 3rd. So I just pulled the 9 of Cups, which is really beautiful. So this is also a day in which we experience kind of a lot of energy. Let's see what else. The Sun. Wow, this seems like a really powerful time for manifestation for you guys. With Mars and Uranus together, it feels like it's unleashing some wild woman or wild man within you to help you guys achieve these incredible goals that maybe have felt quite stifling. And you might not feel like it's this immediate release, like you're not immediately getting everything that you're wanting because of the square to Saturn, but because it's also making a sextile to Venus in your 3rd house, I feel like you guys are opening up through the mind and realizing that it's coming and realizing that it's happening right now. The 9 of Cups, the Sun, the Knight of Wands, all of these are about you guys finding and pursuing your passion. The Knight of Wands to me is, again, an indicator that it's not fully here at this August 1st date. Your goals are not fully manifest, but you are on the path to them. You are like halfway there kind of thing. So by Saturn moving out of the 10th house by 2023, I feel like whatever this wish is, specifically this career wish, is going to manifest for you. So you might see some signs of it in August. You might get some breakthroughs, but you might be like, well, I'm not quite all the way there yet. And so in August, I feel like it's that massive career breakthrough that fully solidifies, or the wish is completely fulfilled when Saturn does move out of the 10th house in 2023. So that's what I'm seeing for that. That's super positive. The last thing I wanted to talk about was this Mars retrograde, which is happening for a very long time, from October 30th to January 13th. And it's happening in your 3rd house in Gemini. Sorry, your 2nd house. So I just pulled the 8 of Pentacles. It's interesting because actually the 2nd house is about us developing certain skills. So I'm just going to put that up here actually. The 8th house is about us developing certain skills. So, and that's to make more money or become more independent and financially stable. And you can see this guy has all these different masks. He's been making all these different masks and wearing all of them and having these different roles that he has to play in life in order to become the person that he wants, or in order to get the things that he wants. So it's not about us pretending, even though people do say like fake it till you make it. So maybe there's a little bit of that, but it is about us being really clear on what those skills need to be and where we might have some some holes in our knowledge or holes in our ability. So when Mars specifically goes retrograde, it's a time for introspection about our skill development and financial management. And so the Eight of Pentacles to me is saying that you guys might have certain aspects of your budget, of your finances, of your ways of making money, or of your skills that you use to make money that you haven't fully invested in, that you haven't fully developed, or that you have a little spottiness in there, that you need to go back and fill in the holes so that things become much more of a well-oiled machine as you do move forward. So the Eight of Pentacles there, is basically, I feel like, giving you the opportunity to do work that's, sorry, I just got distracted by this Queen of Cups. The Eight of Pentacles to me is indicating that, yes, you're developing your skills by with the Mars retrograde from October 30th to January 13th. And then the Queen of Cups to me is also telling me that the thing that you're also reevaluating is how happy things make you. So like, how happy am I? Or how good does this feel when I'm doing these different things? So if I'm making money this way, do I actually feel like I'm in flow? Does time like fly by? Do I feel like I'm utilizing my intuition or my best assets or my best skills or my all parts of myself? The Queen of Cups is having you reevaluate not just your knowledge, but also the way that things feel in terms of the way that you make money, the way that you develop your skills, all those things I was talking about. It's asking you to connect in with the emotional side of them. And specifically, the word that I already said before that's coming up is that flow state. I feel like that's really going to be something that you're trying to achieve, or that you're getting really clear about when you feel like you are in flow state, and maximizing that. Maximizing the flow of income, maximizing the flow of energy, all of those things, keeping it uninhibited. So it's just, again, plugging up those holes so that you can kind of fly down the river instead of having your boat sinking. It's like, let it flow, plug up the holes so you can flow, and then life will just feel so much easier and so much more fluid and fun. So now I want to pull a card about how you guys are starting and ending the year, an animal card, and then we'll just have that be our ending right there. These videos are a little bit longer than I anticipated. You're starting off the year as the beaver, you guys. That's exactly what I thought. The beaver is the card about working really hard towards our goals. You guys have the Saturn in the 10th house. You guys have been really diligently working on what you are wanting to achieve in your career or your life. And you guys, by the end of the year, you are the fox. So the fox is somebody who... to be honest, like the fox is not afraid to like take from other people. And so that's actually something that I'm seeing for you guys this year with Jupiter moving through your 11th house of friendships, is that you guys are going to be not having to work so hard on your own. I mean, you still are encouraged to work hard on your own, of course. That's always going to be there. Saturn is still in your 10th house until 2023. But it's less of this kind of independent, like I have to chew each log and set it all up by myself, or I'm going to freeze this winter, or whatever the beaver thinks. It's like you're stepping into the fox, which is really sly and agile, knows what it wants, and knows how to get other people to help him give him what he wants. He steals food from other people, or he's a trickster. I don't really see you guys having that kind of energy, but just in terms of positivity, like you guys are having more relationships. The Six of Wands was representing having success in your community. So I definitely see some people coming in for you guys that are going to give you opportunities, that are going to give you food, give you connection, give what you need, and so that you don't have to work so hard. Another thing about the fox is that the fox is really like sly and cunning. So I feel like you guys are just going to kind of be learning a lot about yourself with the North Node in your first house this year. A lot about maybe certain relationship dynamics with the fox. Like the fox is sly, so the fox knows other people can be sly. With the South Node in your 7th house, there might be people in your life that are sly or that shouldn't be there. And it will become really clear with this fox card who those people are, because you know your own shadows. With the North Node in the 1st house, you know who you are inside and out. You know your own shadows. So you can see those shadows in others, and you can decide if you do want to engage in that relationship or not. So there's a lot of wisdom that comes with this fox, and a lot of wisdom that I think you guys are going to have about yourself. So That seems like a really beautiful year for you. Again, a really tremendously energetic year with lots of changes with the North and South Node in your first and seventh house. And I think you guys are going to reach a level of victory that you are very satisfied with. This Nine of Cups, the Sun, Nine of Wands. I think you guys are going to finally start to see some progress in your career that you've been craving and so deeply desiring with this Beaver card and working so hard for. And I think a lot of this is about transmuting certain difficult emotions in relationships, getting rid of certain relationships, freeing up your energy, and realizing how much you have to offer the world. So if you guys are interested in a reading, again, don't forget, I will link that in the description box below specifically for your chart. I can, of course, include astrology as well if that's something that you're interested in, but I will look at all the transits to your chart to see your money days, or your best career days, or your relationship days, or when you might have these changes, things like that. So it's going to be unique to every individual, so I highly encourage you to check that out if that's something you're interested in. And I hope that you guys have such a blessed holiday. Bye.